High performers are supposed to be the most resilient, the most driven, the least likely to struggle, and yet they often burn out faster than anyone else in sales. This seems contradictory, but sales burnout is rarely what people think. Most people think burnout is a lack of motivation or a failure of effort, but that's only part of the story. Sales burnout isn't about laziness, it's about accumulated strain. It's about carrying responsibility after responsibility without the tools to interpret what's happening. When you're in sales, your role isn't just transactional. You become the interpreter of expectations, pressures, and outcomes for yourself and for others. And without a clear language to define that experience, you end up shouldering it silently. That's why burnout often sneaks up on you, because what you're experiencing doesn't match any simple definition. In sales, you're not only selling a solution, you're navigating a system. Every day you balance expectations from customers who want certainty, from leadership who want performance, from operations that need collaboration, from a market that changes faster than forecasts. You carry numbers, quotas, pipelines, forecasts, but you also carry ambiguity, and ambiguity feels heavier than clear obstacles because you don't know what you're winning against. You know what goal you're aiming for, but you don't always know what forces are pushing back. That constant invisible pressure is what creates burnout. What many people don't see about sales is the depth of training it gives you. Sales doesn't just develop muscle memory, it shapes mindset. You learn how to stay calm when what's happening around you is chaotic. You learn to interpret people's signals quickly. You learn to make decisions with only part of the picture. You learn resilience, not as a buzzword, but as lived experience. These aren't superficial skills. These are high-order professional competencies. And yet most sales professionals never learn how to explain them. That's one of the root causes of frustration. Not because the skills aren't valuable, but because they're hard to translate to others. Sales has its own vocabulary, and that's a strength internally. But it becomes a roadblock when you try to communicate value externally. Terms like managed pipeline, handled objections, owned accounts, hit quota make perfect sense to you and your team, but they don't always translate to leaders in finance, operations, or strategic roles. And when the people evaluating your work don't speak your language, they default to assumptions instead of understanding. That means your achievements get minimized or misunderstood, or worse, overlooked entirely. The key to solving this isn't abandoning sales language, it's mapping it to broader business outcomes. When you can translate your expertise into broader business terms, everything changes. Your work becomes visible, your impact becomes measurable, your leadership becomes recognizable. This isn't about buzzwords, it's about clarity. Because companies invest in clarity, they reward outcomes people understand. And once you know how to articulate your experience in business terms, you unlock opportunities that were invisible before. By the end of this guide, you'll be able to identify the core skills most sales professionals already have, translate them into universally understood business language, tell your story in ways leaders hear, position yourself for roles that reward strategic insight. This is not a quick fix, but it is the key to long-term professional leverage, and leverage is what prevents burnout from defining your career. Start with awareness. Not awareness of your tasks, but awareness of your work, because there is a difference. You do not need a new identity. You do not need to reinvent yourself. What you need is language. Language to describe what you already know. Language to articulate what you already do. Language to recognize the value you've been building all along. That is why this guide exists. Not as a pitch, not as a program, but as clarity. Clarity for professionals who have experience, yet struggle to translate it into today's world. If you'd like the Sales Experience Translation Guide, you can find it in the description below.